Kia ora e hoa. Haere mai, come and join me. How are you today? Have you had a good day? Ooh, I hope so. Tell you what though, whatever kind of day you've had, I've got a story that will make your day a wonderful day, because it's a wonderful story. This is the story of Swoop, and it's a true animal rescue story. It's written by Matt Owens, and it's illustrated by Emma Gustafson. Are you nice and comfy? Ready for a story? Well, let's begin. It's the story of Swoop. As firefighter Matt... Oh, hang on. It's written by Matt Owens. Maybe he wrote the story about himself. Let's find out. As firefighter Matt drove down the country road, something in his rearview mirror caught his eye. He pulled over and got out of the fire truck. There on the side of the road huddled a baby bird. It was a little magpie, cold, hungry and all alone. Firefighter Matt could see it was injured and too young to fly. "Don't worry, little one, I'll take care of you," Matt said as he scooped the chick up in his gloved hands. The baby bird survived the night, and the next day she gobbled up the breakfast of mushy cat biscuits that Matt gave her. She seemed to be feeling quite safe in her new home. "You need a name," Matt said. I'm going to call you Swoop." "Squawk, squawk," sang Swoop. It sounded as if she was happy with her new name. But firefighter Matt also had a cat whose name was Mogli. Matt was a little worried about how his cat would react to Swoop. As for Swoop, well, she had never seen a cat before, so she was very curious and perhaps a little nervous. Matt introduced them, speaking to Mogli in a firm voice. "Mogli, this is Swoop. Swoop, this is Mogli. Swoop's your little sister now, Mogli. She's family." Mogli looked at Swoop with curious eyes. He appeared happy to have a little sister, and Swoop looked pretty happy too. From that moment on, Swoop and Mogli became inseparable. The pair would cuddle, and sometimes they'd fall asleep together. Swoop followed Mogli everywhere he went. Look. And when Swoop finally grew her flight feathers, she and Mogli went on adventures together. One day, when they were wandering along the beach, they saw a beautiful kingfisher. Can you see the kingfisher here? And Swoop began to wonder if she was a human like Dad Matt. Was she a cat like Brother Mogli? Or was she a bird like the tui in the trees, or that kingfisher they had seen? The next day, Swoop visited the kingfisher. It had feathers just like her. It had a beak just like her, and it could fly just like her. "Am I like you?" Swoop asked. "Well, you're a bird like me," said the kingfisher, "but you have different feathers, and you're bigger than me. But there are some magpies further down the road that look a lot like you. Why don't you ask them?" So off Swoop flew, in search of the birds that looked like her. Further down the road she came across the neighbourhood kids. They played with her for a while, but she knew she was different from them. Swoop flew high in the sky, soaring over fields and past the lighthouse. Nowhere could she see the family of magpies that she'd been told about. Then, just as she was about to turn back, she spotted them. They were just like her, with the same glossy black and white feathers. Surely they must be family, she thought, but she was too shy to go nearer. That night, as Swoop cuddled into Mogli on Matt's bed, she couldn't stop thinking about the family of magpies she'd seen that day. When she woke up the next morning, she knew she had to go and introduce herself. Look at those two snuggling. Swoop flew down the road, across the fields and past the lighthouse until she reached the magpie family. Bravely, she landed on a branch in their midst. The magpies were very welcoming, and Swoop felt at home with them. Could they be my real family, she wondered. She looks a lot like them, doesn't she? Swoop thought about Matt and Mogli and how they had cared for her in their little house by the sea. She thought about how they'd gone on adventures together, just like family. But now, yes, she knew it now, the magpies were her family too. Swoop was sad to think she was leaving Matt and her brother Mogli. But she knew it was time to start her journey with her new family. At that moment, the family of magpies took off into the skies. Swoop hesitated, then squawked, "Wait for me! I'm coming too!" And as Swoop flew over the house she'd grown up in, she felt sad, but excited. In her heart, Swoop knew she had made the right choice. But sometimes, just sometimes, she still pays a visit to her first home by the sea. Have a look at this picture with me. I wonder if this is a photo of Swoop and Mogli. That's the end of the story. But in the back of the book, there are some other photos. Matt, the author, and Swoop. The book is about Matt and his bird Swoop. And there, can you see? Mogli and Swoop having a cuddle. And this is a note from Matt. If you get a copy of the book, you'll be able to read that note. Or maybe you can find it in your library. Well, if you want to find out more about this book and about Matt and Emma, visit scholastic.co.nz. And if you'd like another wonderful story, well, you'll just have to come back and visit again. I love it when you come to visit. Ka kite. See you soon, my friend.